Okay, everybody, this is my spoiler review of Wednesday, episode 3, Friend or Woe. Again, this was directed by Tim Burton, but this time, instead of the showrunners writing it, we have Kayla Albert, who does, to me, an even better job and really actually enhances the writing here, which I was super impressed with, which I'm going to get into. But like all these reviews, I'm going to be talking about spoilers just for this episode, nothing ahead after this episode. This is meant to be reviews you can watch as a companion piece while you're watching the show, and we can do theories and stuff like that. So I have not watched ahead. I'm watching along with you guys. So please keep all the talking about prior episodes in this episode, nothing in the comments talking about any future episodes. So to me, this episode was a love letter to the Addams Family Values film with so much going on that reminds you of it, and I'm going to break down why I believe that. And it also is an important episode for the plot because it really now gets us to learn more about the mystery that's going on in the show, and we learn about Joseph Crackstone and also about this mysterious girl in Wednesday's visions. So where the setting is it's actually in Jericho at Outreach Day, and this is going to be the day they have the ceremony for Joseph Crackstone's statue. So I like how they did a lot of setups and payoffs in this episode, and that comes here when Principal Weems mentions to Wednesday that she has taken her cello. Remember, Principal Weems last episode really enjoyed her cello playing, so she did take her cello, get it prepared for the music that will be played during the ceremony, and says maybe you can play an uplifting melody by Fleetwood Mac. And Wednesday is a great line, as long as you promise to hang me as a witch afterwards. And this is great setup and payoff because later on in the episode when we actually see the ceremony, the band actually starts out and Wednesday playing the upbeat Fleetwood Mac song. We also meet the mayor in this episode. The mayor is another corrupt individual, it seems, and he basically explains he keeps this relationship with Nevermore by the simple fact that they pay the bills, basically. Principal Weems donates to them, and you see the mayor is just a phony. Now, Pilgrim World is where we really start getting the Addams Family values, vibe. It reminds you of the whole Pilgrim play from that film. And we meet Mistress Arlene, who is the tour guide. Now, I wish this was played by Mercedes McNabb, who played the bully Amanda from the Addams Family Values films. So that was a huge missed opportunity there. But in defense of the show, it does seem like, and for the research, this actress of Mercedes McNabb has not acted since she has had a family. So it seems like she's retired. So maybe they just could not get her out of retirement, but she would have been perfect here. Some really funny lines too when they're talking about the meeting house that's here. And she goes, oh, and our privy, America's first gender neutral bathroom. That was great. Also great humor when Wednesday is working, giving samples at the fudgery. She's giving samples to these German tourists and talks about the oppressed people who made the fudge and the whitewashing of American history. And they all leave. That was great. And I like, too, that they have Arlene just care about making money. And that's why she's like, samples sell. And that's why she get called out later on by Wednesday when Wednesday's like, you charge $29.95 a ticket to a house where there's only one legit artifact that's not even there anymore. I like to see Wednesday, too, save Eugene here from the bullies. And she mentions he reminds her of her brother Pugsley, which was nice. But she says without wanting to strangle him every minute. I thought that was really good and develops more that brother-sister relationship that her and Eugene are already developing. Now we see Enid has this crush on Ajax, and they are at this store with the stuffed animals. We see this family of ferrets at a clam bake, which was hysterical. We also see this mysterious man, though, with the beard, who we'll see later on, gets attacked by the monster. This develops him getting the camera and why he would be at that scene. But Ajax has important lines here. Like he mentions that Xavier has a darker side people don't see. So it just adds more mystery to the character of Xavier. And he also mentions his dad is famous, which we'll get an answer later on, that he is actually a famous psychic. And I love when Enid snaps here and is like, I've been brushing roadkill, flirting with you so you can ask me on a date. Emma Myers is great here and just great lines, and I'm sure she's going to be probably, if not, one of the most popular characters from this show. Just super likable. Also, we get more mystery added to Thornhill, which again, I love about the show is there's just so much mystery to a lot of the supporting characters. And Thornhill, we learn, is actually the first normie teacher at Nevermore, which I still don't believe she is a normie. And the mayor says, have I seen you before? So she says no, but you might have seen me when I get my latte. So again, that's an important line that the mayor's saying there. Where has she seen Thornhill? What could that mean about Thornhill, what she's up to? And as we'll see by the end of the episode, Thornhill actually knows the riddle to get into the Nightshade Society Library, so there's more than meets the eye with her character for sure. One of my favorite jokes of the episode in Wednesday Lines is when she finds the Book of Shadows, and it's a fake, and she says, I don't know who Etsy is, but I doubt she was an outcast settler. Great. I love they honored, again, this gag they also have going about Wednesday, that she doesn't really use technology. Now we also get a throw to the original Addams Family film with Christina Ricci, where Tyler lets her know that the meeting house is now a ruin and where it is, and he says, "Don't tell me you were a Girl Scout." And she says, "I could eat Girl Scouts for breakfast," so that's a callback to this scene.
Is this made from real lemons? Yes. I only like all natural fruits and beverages, organically grown, with no preservatives. Are you sure they're real lemons? Yes. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll buy a cup if you buy a box of my delicious Girl Scout cookies. Do we have a deal? Are they made from real Girl Scouts?
And we constantly see, just even in this moment when she leaves to go to the ruin, that Xavier is watching her. So yes, they keep misdirecting us, I believe, and teasing us that he's the monster because he keeps appearing where she always is when she sees a monster. But I think he's just watching Wednesday and looking out for her. Or maybe he's not looking out for her and he's up to no good, but I do not think he's a monster. That'd be too obvious. I also loved the Thing attacking this mysterious man with the camera at the ruin. It's just funny seeing a hand attack somebody and winning. But the really important moment is Wednesday touching the ruin, and she gets a vision here of, now we know, is Goody Addams, an ancestor 400 years ago of Wednesday, and that this witch trial that she was on was led by Joseph Crackstone. And Goody's like, "I'm innocent. We were peaceful with the native folk here, and you stole our land, slaughtered the innocent." And we see he literally has the innocent people in this barn chained down and lights it on fire. And Goody Adams' mother is in there, and she's going to tragically burn to death in there. But that she tells Goody to run, save the future, avenge us. And I think, obviously, connecting to Wednesday's story, that is what Wednesday is going to do in this story of the show for the outcasts. And I really like they're connecting those stories of Goody Adams and Wednesday. What's also important is when Wednesday wakes up from this vision, she sees the monster, and the monster clearly sees her and does not attack her. So we know he saved Wednesday's life earlier, protected her, and then elects not to attack her, but he attacks everybody else. So that's an interesting thing as well, adding to someone who is transforming into this monster. As we'll learn, he is, or she is, a human because she sees the tracks are turning into human tracks. So you wonder, who is this? And it's got to be someone who likes Wednesday. But this is where Xavier explains he knows a lot about psychic visions because of his father being a famous psychic, Vincent Thorpe. And he's like, you can't control it and it freaks you out. And he says the first thing he would tell you is psychic visions can't be trusted, only show you one part of the picture. And he's like, they're telling you what you want to see. And she's this great line, "Are you mansplaining my powers?" But she's saying, though, the visions you're having are triggered by emotions not rooted in logic. So it's fascinating. There's got to be some truth to what he's saying here about visions. And I'm guessing with Wednesday's visions, we're seeing just half what's going on. And there'll be some big reveal by the end in one of those visions that we haven't seen yet, that will remind you maybe of like the Sirius Black twist in Prisoner of Azkaban, that he isn't this villain. So now at the statue ceremony, right on cue, again, the callback to earlier episode about Fleetwood Mac, the band is playing Don't Stop by Fleetwood Mac, but this is when Thing will see lights a match onto the gasoline, and this statue goes on fire. And this is where Wednesday will have her best moment yet, and she's playing Vivaldi's Winter on the cello. And this burning of the statue reminds me of the burning of the Village by Wednesday in the Addams Family Values film. And I love when she's explaining what happened to Weems. She says, "I swear on my late scorpion's soul," which we saw tragically die in that flashback, "my hands are clean." And it cuts to Thing, who is the one who pours the gasoline. That was great, hysterical. And she's saying things to Weems like, "Those who forget history are doomed to repeat it." This is talking about what Joseph Crackstone did and the ignorance that Weems is having about him and celebrating this day, an outreach day. And it reminds you a lot about Christopher Columbus and that holiday, right? And that it's very similar to that type of story. But what's interesting is that while Weems is reprimanding her, she says Wednesday is exhausting, but she smirks as she then pauses and says, "You should know I don't tire easily." And that's where Wednesday is even a little confused, because again, to me, Weems is like this Professor Snape type character. How many Harry Potter references is this guy going to make? But it's just so similar. And how she's, I believe, looking out for Wednesday, and her saying that is saying like, yes, I have a lot of opinions about how we handle a situation like this. I'm not stupid. I know what's happening and the ignorance of it, but that she gets what Wednesday's saying. It's just a different approach, but she understands her. Another great humorous moment was with Anij saying, "What kind of twisted psycho would want to sabotage such a life-affirming event?" And this is when we get to see Wednesday break the fourth wall, and look at us, that was great. And we get this, just blew me away. This is the top quality we've seen in the show yet, with this instrumental cover of Nothing Else Matters by Metallica, and we get this really good writing through this sequence with Wednesday's narration, where she's like, I don't believe in mandatory volunteer work, sugar-coated history, or happy endings, but most of all, I don't believe in coincidences. And then she goes on to quote Agatha Christie about coincidences, and 3 coincidences being proof. And to her, those are Rowan's drawing into the future, Goody Adams' warnings in the past, and the monster in the present, and that they're all connected. And I like through this narration, we see this reveal of Thornhill going into the Nightshade Library, and then Ajax, really cool moment where the towel falls on the mirror while he's in the shower and he gets stoned. I'm just a Medusa nerd. I have a Medusa tattoo, so this was just awesome to me to see those snakes and him in that stoned mode. Pretty cool. But poor Enid is stood up because of this. And we see Weems rips out a page of a yearbook with Morticia on it and throws it in the fire. So really bad blood there. That's interesting to see what that's about. And also interesting, they threw in that Kinbot is a taxidermist on the side. So what is she doing with those stuffed animals? And is it connected to that shop? Is she watching a need? What is going on there? And was she planning to watch Wednesday, because Wednesday was originally signed to that shop? And I love this narration and writing where she says, Sheriff thinks monsters only exist behind the walls of the school. Truth is, there are monsters everywhere, and they're usually the ones we least suspect. And then we see claw marks on Xavier's neck, so we gotta see what that's about. But she says, but I'm looking now and won't stop till I find the truth. And this is when we see that pic that man took on that camera is now in the hands of the sheriff, and he's seeing a picture of this monster. So we'll see how that changes him as a character and what he'll believe. So like I said, what really impressed me about this episode is that it was a love letter to Addams Family Values, probably the most popular film in the Addams Family franchise, and I'm happy they did that. But also that this writing by Kate Albert was really, really well done. And usually the showrunners usually write the best episodes in TV shows, but this is a different case where I thought, even though I love those episodes they wrote, the showrunners so far, episode 1 and 2, I thought this was even better. Just really good comedy writing in it, but also, again, with the narration, I thought it was very true to the character of Wednesday, and I thought it was just really well thought out. So I'm excited to see what else Kate Albert writes here. I think she writes the next episode, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But I'm giving this one a 9. I think it was the best one yet. I'm really excited to see where this goes. So let me know down below what you thought of this episode. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I read every comment, try to respond as many as I can. Please make sure to subscribe. You don't miss one of my reviews of Wednesday. I'll be doing other shows and movies and celebrity interviews as well. Please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for more of me. And I'll see you next time.